Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to The Division 2, and today Year 5 of the game has closed out, and Year 6, and more specifically new information about what exactly it is bringing to the game, is inevitably approaching. So, in this video, I thought it would be fun to take one final crack at a mystery that we have heading into this next year of content, that being, what is this new item type that we're getting that is going to add on to our builds in Year 6? Now, if that entire premise sounds new to you, then I will link the original video that I did talking about this when we first learned about it down in the description. That was over a year ago at Division Day 2023. But it's true, with Seasons 2.0, which is coming in Year 6 Season 2, we are set to get an all-new item type to the game. And so, in this video, I figured it would be fun to recap what we know, as well as cover what has come out since that quote and since that information, leading to people's top theory about what this new item type is really going to be. So, hopefully that sounds good. If you do end up enjoying the video, a like would be very appreciated as always, and if you've not already clicked the subscribe button and you want to stay in the loop with everything with the Division 2, then I hope you'll consider doing so. But without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, and as I said, let's begin with a recap about what exactly we know regarding this new item type, and the main source of information comes from a quote from Yannick, who is the game's creative director, and as I said, this came out back around Division Day last year. He did an interview with a news site, and they asked the following question: The Division 2 has struggled now and then with the gear system. Will you be making any significant changes to the gear, level, and loot economy? And he responds by saying, with Seasons 2.0, we plan to add a new item type. In other words, we'll be reshuffling the gear by creating new items that you'll be chasing, and these new items will have different offerings compared to the gear that you already have. So, back then, that got a lot of people excited, and it still has them excited to this day. Injecting any kind of freshness to the gear system and gear economy that we have within the game is an exciting proposition, for me at least. And so, ever since that information released, there has been a bunch of theories about what this new item type could really be. Those ranging from it just being a straight up 7th gear slot, something like shoulder pads that they would add into the game that then just slots into our builds. People have theorized that we might get something similar to the OS protocols that we've seen in the Division Resurgence, that's the mobile spinoff, which is basically just a new way to augment and modify your Shade Watch. You can give it new capabilities, new stats, things like that, right? And there have been many more ideas about what this new item type could really be, given the lack of information that we have. However, since that quote dropped, like I said, that was over a year ago, there has been one leading theory that has kind of come out among the rest, I think, and that is patches. Yes, the same patches that we already have. So for the remainder of the video, I wanted to go over and outline some of the events that have led people to the conclusion that patches could be the new item type, and talk about what exactly that might mean. So, this all began when people noticed that arm patches was a new category that had appeared at the crafting station. Now, the exact point at which this came into the game, I'm not 100% sure on. I feel like I recall seeing it back in the Year 5 Season 2 PTS, so many months ago, back in 2023. It was definitely there when Year 5 Season 3 launched earlier this year, so who knows exactly when it popped up, but this is what it looked like. The credit for this image goes to Windows Central. You can see at the bottom right, there is a new category there labeled arm patches. Now, this is no longer in the game for you to check out, and we'll cover that in just a moment, but that is what it looked like, and that is the first inkling that people got that there could be something new happening here with patches. The next interesting bit that popped up was when we started hearing about Danny Weaver, who is the textile vendor that they added into the game with Year 5 Season 3 and Project Resolve. When he was first announced, many began talking about him selling new patches. Now, I don't recall them mentioning this from the reveal stream they did for the update specifically. Maybe they did, I'd have to go back and look, but they must have said it somewhere, because I saw immediately people talking about how he might be going around and selling new patches. What I didn't realize, and this has been right under our noses all along, I'm sure some people saw it, is that when you go into the game and view the season primer for Vanguard, the season that is in the game right now, it says in his tiny little blurb down at the bottom right, textile vendor, find Danny Weaver, a wandering vendor to trade in your textiles for new patches. And that is notable because he does not. Ever since Danny Weaver has been added to the game since TU 20.1, he has only sold caches for either loot or materials for textiles. And so that is obviously a very interesting discrepancy. And then lastly, we have the TU 20.2 patch notes, which came out at this point a few weeks back, probably over a month. I'll put it up on screen. It was under the UI section here, and it's the one that's highlighted. It says, remove the arm patches category from the crafting station until next time. And of course, that last little bit is crossed out as a fun little wink and nod, indicating that, yeah, this feature is probably going to return at some point. And so with all of that stuff in mind, I think that there have been a few too many odd coincidences that have now led to people concluding that patches could be the new item type that is on the way. Now, I do want to point out, it's very possible that these things are completely disconnected, right? We know that we have a new item type coming, and so that's obviously leading people to connect the dots here. But all we really know from this information is that patches are seemingly getting some sort of revamp or some kind of new acquisition method that involves Danny Weaver and crafting and all of these things. However, if that does tie into the new item type stuff, it wouldn't be a shock to me that we've seen all of these things kind of pop in and pop out from the game. Obviously, Seasons 2.0 and all of this stuff was meant to be in the game by now already. That was the originally planned thing with Year 5 Season 4. That's now no longer happening. They pushed all that stuff back to Year 6. And delays in game development can create these kind of staggered completion points for different components to an overall system. Basically, what I'm saying is it would make sense why patches kind of showed up in these various places, then they got pulled, reworded, etc. Right? Maybe originally Danny Weaver was intended to tie into this whole system, and then he was ready early, but everything else got pushed back, so they're like, let's give him caches for now. Same with the crafting station. If patches are going to be this new item type that we can then craft in the station, it would make sense that they had that category ready and ended up slipping into the code, and then they're like, oh, we're not actually shipping that for 3 more updates, let's make sure to pull it. So in my mind, it's incredibly plausible either way, that either patches are going to be this new item type that are somehow now going to get stats or other relevant bonuses that we can insert into our builds, or it could be a completely disconnected new feature that we're going to hear about as well when we head into Year 6. But for now, my friends, that is the info, and those are the theories regarding the new item type that the Division 2 is getting in the coming months here, as well as people's leading theory about that, which is patches. If they end up doing a big presentation on what Year 6 is bringing to the game, which is what a lot of us are assuming they're going to do in these next few weeks, I imagine the new item type is going to be featured in that as a big segment or highlight because it's something exciting that people will really look forward to. And regardless of what it ends up being or whatever else Year 6 is going to bring, I'm quite excited to find out what's coming. For now though, my friends, that is everything I have to share with you today on this topic, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. What are your leading theories at this point in time about what this new item type that the Division 2 is going to be receiving is? Do you think it is actually going to be patches, or if not, what do you think is going on with all of these other weird coincidences that have taken place regarding patches? Why do you think Danny was originally going to sell them? Why do you think they have their own category in the crafting station that is supposedly going to come back at some point in time? Whatever you're thinking, I would love to hear it all down below. But that is going to do it for me today. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.